Good morning, everyone. Thanks for welcoming all the panelists. And I'd like to start by saying that it's a wonderful panel that the organizers have put together. We have technology people, we have people who are building brands from 0 to 1 and 1 to 100, and we have strategists who've been in the industry for a long time. So we're going to discuss on how uh, we can uh, we can leverage technology to unlock success in fashion in this session. Quick introduction about from my side. I'm Sumanth. I'm co-founder of AlphaBake. We are a generative AI startup, and we try to improve the visuals of products for fashion brands, ultimately to improve the click-through rates, conversions, and sales. We have a booth. Would love to talk to. Would love to catch up after the session with each of you. So I hope everyone is energetic enough right now. Anybody who've traveled for more than 1 hour in the Bangalore traffic to reach here on time? Amit? 2 hours. Okay, that's a good start. All right, so a quick question to the audience to begin with, just to loosen up everyone. How many of you actually use ChatGPT on a daily basis or a weekly basis? That's okay, less than what I expected. Yeah? Sorry? Yeah, of course. Everyone can raise their hands in the hall. Okay, so people who haven't used ChatGPT, I think it's a great tool. It's a great companion to have, and you should start using it. So, yeah, so let's begin the session, unlocking success in fashion through emerging tech. Quick background on technology itself, right? If you look at the past decade, we have seen internet and technology evolve a lot. We have seen going from Web 1 to Web 2.0, wherein people were able to comment, edit web pages. That's when the whole fashion online commerce boom has happened. And over the past decade, we are seeing so many innovations across logistics, payments, AI ML coming in and just improving the consumer experiences by big time. And then not just consumer experience. Again, AI has entered multiple domains in terms of optimizing inventory, bringing in intelligence, user profiling, and whatnot. So today we're going to briefly start discussing about how any sort of technology has impacted businesses, D2C brands or marketplaces or omni-channel businesses for that matter, and how is it impacting the business. So we'll quickly start with Sathish. So you are running a house of brands today, and you're one of the leading sellers on Myntra and Flipkart, and you've created multiple brands. You're churning out high number of SKUs every month. How do you really leverage data science and to continue to maintain so many high SKUs and still run a very profitable or a big brand?
Right. Thanks, Sumanth. Pleasure to be here and learn from the other panelists as well. As companies which grow very fast and also as companies which work with a lot of moving parts, I think we would be facing one of the most complicated tasks because we're in fast fashion. We work with multiple brands, multiple categories, and are trying to scale very, very rapidly. So just for context, we've gone from 0 to 1,000 crores plus in just under 8 years. The amount of data analytics that you require to do to make this, foolproof, because obviously as a business at scale, you need to make sure that your data inputs are correct and what you are using that data for, because there is a lot of data around us, making cohesive sense of all that different sources of data. And then, for example, predictive merchandising, right? That is a very, very critical part because inventory can kill you completely. It can wipe out your gross margins in a jiffy. So, and because we're e-commerce led, the frequency of sale events is very, very high. So your inventory goes from peak to lowest, absolutely, in a very, very rapid way. It's doesn't follow like a typical calendar cycle of regular offline brands where you have a festive season and you have a season launch. And in fast fashion, first of all, every month is a new season. And every event requires massive inventory build-up to be able to capitalize on that. So how can you use data to make sure that your inventory is accurate, both with your best-selling SKUs and keeping them in stock? And the bigger challenge is How do you launch new styles as a fashion brand, understanding what the customer is actually going to buy? I think for us, the biggest challenge as any fashion brand is, are you doing designs that the customer is going to buy? Are you ahead of the trend? Are you timing it right? And are you carrying the right amount of depth in every kind of style? So there's a width assortment, there is the depth assortment, and also the kind of fashion that you're actually doing. One of the ways we've tried to build this is look at a lot of data and break it down into product attributes. When I say attributes, if I take a shirt, for example, a shirt can have attributes of color, it can have attributes of fabric, it can have attributes of pattern. It could be a check, stripe, big print, small print, conversational print, all over print, whatever that is, your type of collar, whatever that is. So using all these attributes, what we did was we started building a frequency analysis of these attributes. What are the most recurring attributes in any kind of assortments that are doing very well? And then using that, because also if you understand, in most fashion companies, the designers are actually in a bit of a silo. They don't understand the business side of it. They're not exposed to the business side of it or the sales side of it. So what happens is, when they design, how do you make sure that what they design is relevant to the consumer that you're catering to? And many of them are very young. Most design teams are very, very young, have limited experience in the industry. So you need to give them very, very strong guardrails to say, you design within this framework, use your creativity, use all the research that you need to do, but then break it down into these guardrails using this attribute information that we're giving you, and then build your collection. Then your hit rate is really, really good. So we have like an 85% full sell-through for all our new styles. And that's really the data that is helping us do that. So, but also this can become better by, if the systems can learn these attributes and help churn out these frequency analysis in a much faster and more predictive way.
That's quite interesting. It's actually very empowering to know that fashion brands are actually using technology to that depth to change the narrative of the hit rate, right? I mean, 85% hit rate is actually pretty high. I mean, wonderful. So I'll just go to Amit. Like, you are also a brand that's growing fast. And how do you actually leverage AI/ML to boost your sales, boost your business?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm 100% in sync with Sathish, what he said. So we are also leveraging a lot of data. One is there are a lot of social signals which are coming in. We are using platforms which predict what is the next season, what are the trends, what kind of silhouettes, what kind of prints will come in. So those social signals, I mean, WGSN is one, there is another Fashion Scoop. So we use those platforms to predict what our designers utilize them to create new designs in the coming year or the coming season. So we do that. Second is definitely intelligent inventory management is a key. So so we use that for our store's replenishment. Okay. So what needs to be replenished at what store? That is still maturing. We have recently done the POC. And so, for example, 462 pieces are required to send to store A, 532 to store B. So system is maturing, and decisions are becoming accurate, wherein we don't face the stock out issues. And I think in the coming year, we'll be saving 15 to 20% of inventory wastage, which we predict in the coming year. So, I mean, third, which we have started using is the style bot. So that style bot is launching on 1st of this with our latest SS24 collection. So that bot will interact with customer in the vernacular languages, even text or speech or whatever, and give the inputs on the styling tips actually. So which will help the user to analyze, understand the design, what is the story behind that design, and so that they can make decisions of the purchase. So these are the 2-3 things we are implementing.
That's wonderful. So we had somebody using data science to decide what designs to go for, and we have another in-house brand within India who's trying to use data science to understand how to replenish each store with the right amount of inventory of each SKU. That's brilliant. I'll quickly move on to Rohit. Rohit, giving a slightly different angle to this, data science apart, you're actually building technology which, a back-end technology for the brands, which is important for them to maintain the omni-channel presence and to seamlessly cater to the customers without delays in returns or inventory management and things like that, right? So can you explain a little bit of how this technology, which is more in the back end, is trying to improve the experience for the brands with their customers?
Right, thanks, Krishna. So I'm Rohit. Hi, I represent Ginesys. We have been powering leading retail brands, both offline and online retail brands, with our technology for more than a decade plus. And our latest innovation is Genesis One, which is a unified tech stack for omni-channel retail. It's ready. So I think the question is about how backend technology is empowering customer experience, and I think it's just following on from what Sathish said and what Amit said, that we are empowering them to keep the right product at the right place, sell it in the right way, like the point of sale. If it's not up to date with the right inventory, obviously you'll have an issue. If it's not fast enough at the billing, obviously you'll have a terrible customer experience. If it's also not able to capture details of the customer in a fast way. Everyone hates data entry, someone said, Sathish said, that everyone hates data entry, but till you capture the attributes of the product correctly at the time of creating the product, again, you will not be able to do the data analysis part. So everything is linked back to the origin of the transaction, which is where we come into play, about how we are saving the transaction, how we are then helping tools like BI tools to analyze the data, then leveraging AI within our systems to kind of help with the replenishment, help with the order allocation in case there's an omni order coming in and you want to fulfill that order from store A or store B or C, all three are within the vicinity of the customer, then the omni engine decides where to allocate that order. Then the salesperson should be able to see and actually take that order and then ship it out with the best courier agency possible. So all of that is being leveraged through the AI engine. So there is a lot of back-end tech, but it's evolving very fast, and a lot of the Indian tech that is out there now is now pretty agile and nimble, I think, compared to what it was around a decade back. Right. So I think tech is also evolving at a very fast pace along with the retail ecosystem. That's what I have to say.
Niraj, would quickly like to understand your point of view on how AI and ML can actually impact businesses, how BI retail is actually able to make a difference in this matter.
Thanks, Sumanth. Morning, everybody. I'm Niraj Jaipuria, founder, CEO at BI Retail. So essentially, we are a specialty data analytics solution provider for the retail industry. I've been, I think, fortunate probably to attend close to 12 to 15 retail-specific conferences every year for the last, at least for the last 5 years. I'm sure all of you do the same. I'm yet to find a panel in any of these retail conferences where at least 70% of the panelists don't talk about analytics. So what I'm going to do today is not talk about analytics because I think all of us know what it is. I'll give you a few insights that we've learned in our journey. I think one thing is analytics, like any other process in the world, follows the 80-20 rule, right? So you may tend to see 80% of benefit by putting about 20% of effort in your analytics journey. And subsequently, getting incremental benefit from that 80% trying to go towards 100% is where the journey becomes more and more tougher. So case in example, I think Sathish said his sell-through, they're managing to achieve 85%. I mean, firstly, Sathish, congratulations, 85% and you said full price sell-through. Wow, I mean, I've yet to meet a brand who actually does that. So hats off to you guys, right? But to get, from that 85 to get to even 85.5 or 86% is a very, very uphill task. And we confuse analytics, ML, AI. I think all of us tend to talk about these three things in the same breath. there is a significant difference between, doing analytics without any ML or AI coming in, then adopting ML into it, and then adopting AI into it. I was at a conference in Mumbai last week, and I was on a panel, and I just quickly asked the audience sitting in the room with a quick show of hands to say, how many of us in this room understand the difference between ML and AI and the use cases between them? And I was very surprised. Almost 90% raised their hands. I wish I had the time to quiz them more, but there is a perception that you started with ChatGPT, right? It's a great consumer tool, but we have to find use cases and proper business applications of each technology, right? I think what we have managed to do with fashion retailers is there are plenty of tools available, which do analytics, which do dashboarding, which do ML, which do AI, all of that. We've managed to show value to retailers because we claim ourselves not to be a tech company. We are a business and a retail consulting company, and we only use tech as a medium. So the concept, and maybe a suggestion where what I've learned with all our fashion customers is that success in analytics will come when you don't try to think of dashboards and reports that you want to create. Try and see what problems you want to solve. So make your analytics objective-driven, solution-driven, rather than dashboard-driven and data-driven. That would really help. So simple examples are, a lot of friends here have said, what to buy, when to buy, how much to buy, when I buy, what to distribute, what to pull back. So merchandising is probably 60-65% of a retailer's life, sometimes even over-exaggerated. But yeah, those are use cases. Customer experiences, I think the other one where there are so many developments happening. We are doing a few of them. Maybe we'll talk about AI if we have time in the next question. But customer experience, again, needs to be very solution-driven. Everybody wants to recognize a customer, segment a customer, do RFM, right? What is he buying? What is she not buying, etc. So, but there are more advanced and more useful use cases evolving out of that. There's a huge amount happening on the supply chain side. How to run your stores better if you run that. The entire ecosystem of data that all of us as retailers generate, not just internally in our POS, ERP, WMS systems, but online being a very big thing today, right? All of us generate a lot of data on our social feeds, right? You have Google Analytics as an example. GA provides a very excellent portal and a front end for you to go and see all your pie charts and your clicks, impressions, return on ad spend, etc. But I have actually learned from fashion retailers like yourselves that they find that extremely limiting. There's an overload of data on the GA portal, and they simply just can't understand what to do by realizing that the GA, ROAS is 67% or 23%. They still don't know what to do in either of the cases. So I think it's more about being able to take that data that maybe a dashboard throws out to you and get your tools to actually tell you what to do rather than just show you what has happened, right? So move from reactive to predictive to prescriptive, and at some point transactive, right?
Thanks, Niraj. Thanks for the lovely insight. We'll probably come back to use case in the next segment, wherein we'll discuss about improving customer experience using these emerging techs. We'll quickly move to Rajeev. We are speaking of fast fashion brands over here, leveraging technology. Neeru's has been, one brand which has seen thick of time for more than probably 30, 40 years now. And you've seen through the evolution of the entire online e-commerce, and you've stayed relevant, and you've been reinventing yourself over the time. So how relevant is e-commerce for you? Because you, I would understand, would be a retail, like offline retail first sort of a brand. And how relevant again is emerging technologies? How do you actually leverage those? Would like to understand from your perspective on that.
Check. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah. See, technology is available, right? I mean, the first query comes in my mind is saying that there's too much of technology which is available. You know, as a brand, we need, or as a business, I must say that we need to understand what is our requirement. Sometimes I feel like it's not required to have so much of junk also. I'm sorry, Dheeraj, please don't mind. I mean, you need to know, yeah, you need to know what your business requires, what is your problem, as you said. If you talk about Neeru's, I would like to, put two statements so that you understand what's my thought process and where I'm coming from. We have a range of selling 1,000 rupees kurti to a 4 lakh rupees of lehenga and sari. So that's the width. We have a store size of 1,000 square feet to a 25,000 square feet store. So that's the width of our, operational things. So when and we are into ladies ethnic wear. I was talking to Aman and Saurabh the other day, it's easy for men's because they're very brand loyal, They know what's their fit, what brand, they can go on, but it's not so easy. The business itself is complex, I must say that, The trend changes, when you say that, how to gauge or use the technology. A few months back, we were selling Naira cut. If the ladies in the room can understand probably better. Then came the Alia cut. It changes, isn't it? I mean, it's matter of time. Within 6 months, things changes. Now everyone is running towards cord sets, right? Now you don't know how much long it's going to be there. You don't know what to buy. If you ask me, when I am doing my OTP working, giving it to my buyers, saying that what to buy, when to buy, it's very tough. So that's how. So what happens, you need to understand what is the technology which is required. So yes, we are looking into it as per our need. And then we are seeing that what is required, because there's a lot of infrastructure, resource, which is put at the end of the day to get all these technology work for you. So what I say is that yes, we are aware of it and we are working on it, but we are picking and choosing what is requirement for our end, from our end. That's all.
Thanks for that. And just adding, yeah.
Sorry,
Go ahead, yeah.
Rajeev, just back to you. I'm so happy to hear that, we have at least one retailer who admits that there's too much data and we need less of it. Because, for the last 5 years, I've been crying hoarse saying that stop looking at data, there's too much of it. Just look at what you really need. So glad to hear that, really.
I think that was a very interesting view in terms of, like sometimes looking at the other side helps, making more business sense. On the same topic, I'll come back to you, Saurabh. Apparel Group has also been for a long time innovating continuously, reinventing, being very relevant at every point in time whenever there is a huge change across the globe in terms of technology. AI/ML being one side of it, there are lots of other technologies people typically use to, keep the experiences up and keep the retail stores more interesting. Would love to, have some thoughts from you on that matter. Any of the brands that you can pick from House of Brands and how you're leveraging tech to make the retail stores more interesting over there.
Thanks, Sumanth. Hi, everyone. I'm Saurabh. I'm from Apparel Group. I am the business head there, taking care of Beverly Hills Polo Club. I kind of agree with how Sathish pointed out, and I've always believed that there are two ways of doing business. One is operational excellence, basically how operationally you are driving the business and how minutely you take care of your business. Second is how the information is passed in the business. When we talk about technology, like Rajeev pointed out very clearly, most of us are very overwhelmed with ChatGPT, with a lot of technology coming our way, but how is it gonna give us an edge over others is something what we need to look into it. I look at this business from, I will not take one particular brand, but if I divide this from an online and an offline perspective, we have come a long way. We were working on Excel sheets. We still are. A lot of people still are Excel sheets. Then we deep dive into what category. When we talk about fashion brands or a F&B, which coffee is selling, a hot liquor or a cold liquor, or a polo is selling or a t-shirt is selling, and all those things. Now to a Power BI dashboards. We have implemented QR codes in our stores, where if you don't get a size, you just scan it and order it online, right? So we have come a long way in terms of what we have tried to do it in offline specifically is also uh, operationally maximizing and looking at heat mapping of the areas in the store where most of the customers are going, and where we can leverage out in terms of, you know, overall sales, or which categories we can push, what kind of things we can drive from that particular wall or that particular area. But that might not be applicable for all stores, because you have a store which is probably 800 square feet. You know, you for that it's such a smaller this thing. Again, the relevance what Rajeev said. You know, we probably would have to see what kind of store we are looking at. Probably a 8,000, 10,000 square feet store where, you know, we operate in a R&B sector where we can look into it. When we come to online, how have we derived our inventory in the system, or how we have pushed it, how quickly we have made that available for the customer overall, whether it is from the store or from a marketplace or from your warehouse. That is something you know, which we are working on. It is a typical inward of where you scan each and every unit, right, and then you do your GRN. It's a typical warehouse setup. But how quickly machines can do it, or how quickly you can invert those setups, how quickly that data can give you analysis of what is being sold in your warehouse and what is being sold in your stores, how different it is versus online and offline, is something which now is quantifiable. You know, and we can see all this. What is missing, and what I would love to see it in the future is, yes, it gives us the prediction of what we need to, how much depth we can buy. It gives us what categories we can invest on. It also gives us whether we have to have a what percentage of gender ratio. If we talk about F&B, what food products to buy, cosmetics, what category we need to look into. But they don't tell us in terms of, if there is a newness which comes in, how do you procure that, right? That is something we want to explore. That is something we want to see, because then the buying efficiency becomes very important, because overall majority of the brand is working in D2C sector, right? And inventory is the only cost which you incur in your major expenses, right? If that's something which you maximize, and that can only happen from the first step, which is your buying. If your buying efficiency improves, which gives you a sell-through of 80, 85%, 90%, then it makes all the more sense to involve or evolve with the technology we have.
That's wonderful. And you know, staying on the topic, I just want to add one more point to the whole offline retail experience, right? So it's not always that a customer shops online for convenience or offline. You know, there is an emotional aspect to walking into a store, talking to the salesperson, understanding what is selling, what is not selling, and those aspects. So quickly sort of transitioning that into like how close can online experience also get to that? Just circling back to the whole ChatGPT thing, do you think chat-based commerce can be the next big change in how e-commerce operates? It's a question I'm posing for all the panelists. Feel free to pick up the mic and then comment on it. How do you think it's going to change omni-channel or?
Yeah, I had a similar, you know, like thought, because ChatGPT and other assistive AI is now going to be more omnipresent. You already have a little bit of that with Siri and Alexa, and they will become more intelligent, and there will be more newer chatbots out there which will help you in the buying decision, even inside the store. So forget about e-com. E-com is a natural extension where people are already implementing style bots and other kind of bots on, because it's digital and easy to do. But I'm pretty sure that even in the future there will be also in-store bots which will help you select the. So in that case, how would the role of the store associate kind of evolve, and what would their function be in terms of you know, improving the customer experience? What additional benefits could they bring to the table as a store associate or as a store manager? What can they do to you know, make the customer feel that he's wanted in the store and he's making the right choice? Because after all, how much trust we actually place in that bot is a evolution curve. I think we are nowhere near that right now. So at the end of the day, I would always rely on a human as of now. So I think that is one distinction that bots can automate and give you some information and give you some context. But the overall, I think buying experience should still be with the store associate. That at least for the next 2-3 years, that's what I feel. And I don't know if the other brand owners can comment like how they perceive the in-store experience to change.
I just want to. Sorry, I just want to add to what my colleague said. Yes, it is, and there are figures. In fact, our stores have. I would not say it is Chat GPT. I would say WhatsApp GPT. We have moved the catalogs to WhatsApp. We have given them a virtual experience of the store. We launched the store today, and the customer doesn't have to wait for the Saturday to come, right, and to go to a mall. We can just give them the in-store experience on their WhatsApp immediately, and they can order it if they want then and there itself. So yes, I totally agree with what you are pointing out, and probably almost in-store sales, if I have to put a number around, probably 2 to 3% sale has also gone, I would say, from this kind of a portal, which used to be 100% from the store earlier.
So I think just to add to this, where chatbot, so we are also trying to use chatbot in our offline experience, and where we are using it is for the endless aisle concept. So we don't look at it like a chatbot, but like a machine which can interact with the customer. Because in a store, you can keep limited assortment, and you would prefer keeping bestsellers, and then remaining assortment to be the store-specific assortment. Because when a customer, for example, in our case, when they enter a store, there is always a need that you have. So there's always a need that you have 800, 1,000, 1,500 designs in a store. What more can I see, right? And if I want specific earring in specific type, do you have more? Where, in those questions, you have endless aisles which are built on the screens where consumers can go and interact, and then they can get all their designs, and then they can place their order then and there. So it's a slightly different experience. Online is a very chat-driven bots. Offline is a very large screen assisted-based bot, but that's another version of chatbot which is for offline.
There's
Yeah, so how many of you have already, made a purchase recommended by a bot or a virtual assistant? 3. And how many of you have made the purchase influenced by the social media influencers? So I think whatever technology you put in, a human touch is every time required. Even if we go towards a holographic stylist in the store, you still need a human interaction. And very rightly said, you should not. I mean, brand should not go for what is going around, what other brands are doing. You need to understand your business need. For our brand, we don't need AR. We don't need smart mirrors. We need a small trial rooms wherein person can try 2 or 3 garments and select one. It's completely about the business need, right? We have 800,000 square feet, as you rightly said. You don't need technology wherein just for the sake of having the technology. Sure.
Sorry, I just had a use case to extend to what all the brands are talking about. And this is where the AI use case comes in, one of them. Up until, I'd say about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, most of the analytics that we were driving for brands and retailers was what we call based on quantitative data. So data that, Ginesys or Rohit's, all this data generation softwares that crunch in numbers. We used to take all of that and drive analytics around numbers. You very nicely put in this emotional quotient of the customer coming in. We actually have been doing a few use cases around that in the last 2 years, and where 2 of the most popular implementations of AI are in the space of natural language processing (NLP), and the other is in the space of video and image recognition, right? So I'll just take a simple example. For certain brands now, what do? we are taking inputs from non-quantitative sources. So chat, for example, while there are lots of chat softwares and a lot of brands are interacting with their customers on type chat, etc., that data is what we are bringing into our analytics tool for that brand. And we're using NLP to actually recognize qualitative sentiments out of that. And now we're marrying that qualitative sentiments with the quantitatives to actually give inferences to the brand to say it's not that he only bought one piece. You realize that before he bought this one piece, he had a conversation with somebody, which could be in a ticket, a support ticket, or it could be in a chat. And there is a history behind it. So it's not that you sold one piece, it's that you lost an opportunity of selling 3 more pieces, right? That is what really is the next level of analytics.
So, so just to add to this, actually, this is a very fair point. In fact, we also try one of these things. So we have cameras across all our stores, right? And you can get every data of what is happening at the stores of via camera. So we actually try and use that with the software to identify how many people are coming to the store, because earlier we were relying on store staff reporting the numbers, and we realized they overestimate, underestimate basis the conversion percentage, right? But just using that analytics to identify how many people are coming, how many people are attended by the store staff, because what we realized is the number of people who are attended by the store staff leads to a better conversion, right? If store staff is spending 5 minutes versus 10 minutes, you will realize the bill amount going up by that. Then analyzing how many hotspots are there across different stores, channel basis this, using Jimroff, then you can improve the store efficiencies also. So those are some of the use cases which can be built using data. Otherwise, as you rightly said, just keeping those camera feeds with yourself and then saying we have a lot of data sometimes is of no use as well, right? So
I'd like to really build on what Niraj was just speaking about, right? The whole NLP and all of that with the chat. It's a very, very interesting tool, especially in the D2C space, because today, one of the most important things, I mean, almost everybody who runs D2C knows a significant amount of their revenue is driven purely by paid advertising, right? I mean, the traffic and the revenue comes in from paid advertising. And for it to be effective, your audience segmentation, identification of potential audiences, your lookalikes, your cohorts are very, very important. I think if we are able to leverage chat and extract information, build personas from the chat experience itself, I think that will be a very, very useful, a great use case, because then you exactly know what kind of people are looking for what kind of stuff, and then it makes your paid marketing very, very effective and efficient.
Fair enough. And actually, I'm having the joy of combining multiple points that have been put forward, starting from Rajeev. I think just extending your point about having excessive data sometimes is also not good. So it's not always that, I mean, everybody knows technology is advancing at a rapid pace. It's not about knowing what technology, it's about knowing what's the right technology for your business that actually matters. Then, combining that with human element within the store, or beyond even in an online space wherein you have humans understanding what sort of personas are actually being built by using this technology along with the human. I think that's where a lot of intelligence can be built by a brand across what the customer base they have. Sure, Raju, you want to add?
See, there are 2 places where this happens, like the technology, what Dheeraj and everyone says. One is that customer's end, and one is the back end, what Ginesys focus was talking about. When you talk about customer, one more thing which you need to understand is how much customers is involved. The technology is there, we want to use it. Everyone wants to use that, but how much customers are involved to use it? We have seen a lot of cases, people have tried and then realize it's not the right time. For an example, Orkut, Orkut was way behind, didn't work out, like Facebook did work out. It was ahead of time probably. So you also need to know when is the right time to get into it. When you see, as you said, how many people are using ChatGPT. In this room, as of now, there are 4 to 5 people have used it, right? So that's how, when it becomes like 50 to 60% of the room starts saying that, oh, everyone is ChatGPT, I don't think we're going to miss the bus, right, at any given point of time. Because what happens is when you enter late, then even the technology has evolved along with the customers, right? So that's one thing which we need to keep in our mind, when we talk about technology at customers and I'm talking about.
Aman, I'll quickly come to you for, just to expand on technology bridging the gap between online, offline, and improving the consumer experience in store and online. Puma has been one brand which has attracted not just the mid audience, but also slightly mid plus premium audience. So you cater to all of them and you have number of stores across various cities. So how do you actually, what sort of tech do you actually involve in terms of bridging that, or improving the customer experiences across offline and online?
So at Puma, I'll say that we'll have close to around 1200 plus point of sales, which is, so I'll divide it into online and offline. So primarily when you talk about offline, we'll have close to around 1200 points of sales where we actually supply the inventory, and that is our inventory, right? Apart from that, there are a lot of mom and pop stores, distribution stores where we sell. So when you have your inventory spread across, say, around 1200 point of sales, the very important factor that comes in is that when you are at the middle of your season and your top styles are running out, and the customer is at the store and he's not able to get what he wants, that is the basis thing where you lose your customer, right? So that's the base of customer experience where you lose out that customer. So the most important question or the most important problem for us to solve is that how do we solve out the overstocking and understocking at the stores? So once we are able to do that for the offline stores, that solves the problem. So having said that, what solves it is the predictive analysis that we can do that everybody was talking about, where what to buy, when to buy, where to place, when to place, is what would solve the problem for us. And as a brand, we are moving into that mode where more of the buying is towards the depth and less on the width, so that when you talk about replenishments, it is an on-time replenishment. When you talk about consolidation, it is a data-driven consolidation. So all of those things would probably bring in the efficiencies in the system, right? And once you are done with that, then these are the must-haves, I would say, in the offline retail. And then when you talk about good to have, there are multiple things, right? So we can always find out what are the hotspots where the consumers are spending their time with all the CCTV data and everything that we have. How can we elevate those locations? How can we elevate the customer experiences there? We have had customization centers at a lot of our stores where you can customize your Puma inventories, have that value added benefit in your merchandise, which personalizes that product for you as compared to other brands, right? So these things are good to have. But then the basis remains that if I want a L in this sweatshirt, I get it or not, right? So one way to do it is by doing the predictive planning through all the machine learnings that we have. The second part of it is by doing an endless aisle, or we have started doing a find. So find is an app where we showcase our best sellers to the consumer. So if a consumer is looking out for a sweatshirt, he's not getting it, he can look at it on the Find app and he can find it, and then we ship it from our warehouse, right? So that is the basic customer void that needs to be filled out for us, right? When you talk about the online space, again, the inventories are again spread out so heavily across the various warehouses that we have that at the end of the day, it depends on that how do we exhaust those inventories, right? So then again, it becomes how do you spend your marketing spends, how do you target your consumers geographically, and then accordingly sell out those inventories. So we also started doing this small tech enablement from our Puma.com website, which is driven by Salesforce, where normally when you do a return or an exchange, it is either just an exchange that happens. Even if you want to retain the product or you just want to change the size, it's a very long-term process. So we have made it a manual process where there's a bot which connects you to the nearest store staff. He can guide you that, okay, fine, if you want an L, it is not fitting you, I can offer you something from your nearest store, right? So rather than just returning it, because once you return that product, that customer again has an open bracket to buy from, right? He can go to brand 1, 2, 3, 4. So to reduce those losses, we want to give that personalization that yes, there's a person there who's driving this from the nearest store. So I guess all of these are again very, very baby steps into the machine learning and the AI world for our brand. What I believe is that when you talk about a lot of hypermarts, like the bigger stores where the SKUs are much higher, where the efficiencies are much difficult to manage, that is where it is a bigger enabler, where the footfalls, like say probably a Shoppers, LFRs, all the LFRs that you talk about, where the footfalls are much higher, your kiosks are much lesser, and then you end up lining at the stores to get your billing done, right? A lot of time what happens is that it becomes a turn-off for you when you have around 50 consumers who are there for billing, you tend to move out from there. So these are the locations where you can have a cashless kiosk or something like that, like an Amazon or Decathlon is doing, right? So then I believe that all of these things are more relevant there, and then it becomes a must-have for them, and it remains a good to have for us. Probably 5 years down the line, that becomes a status for the industry to have.
Ishendra, sorry, I'll come quickly to you. I think amongst all the people sitting here, you probably have the youngest of brands and pretty fast growing. You've grown to what, 40 stores in like 1.5 stores. Wonderful. Okay. Right. So how is it different starting in a very different generation compared to a lot of other brands and managing the whole omni-channel of business in a segment like jewelry, which is again, it has its own challenges for transactions going online and offline. So how do you look at this differently in terms of providing great consumer experience, and what sort of tech do you actually bring in to do that?
So, so we actually use tech at multiple touch points, and not just talking about the offline space right from the time of identifying a location. That is because what we realized is for our brand, even if we set up a store in a neighborhood market, that works really well. We don't need to be there at high street. Well, we can be there at high streets, but we can be there at neighborhood markets also, unlike large format stores, etc. So which is where, there are multiple tech solutions which we use along with our BD teams who go and do the nearby recce of the place. But just seeing the data of the nearby catchment, seeing their income groups, and then building a predictive model of how much sales can this do. Because a similar catchment in, let's say, particular area in Pune is doing this much sales, helps us in taking a more cognizant call on where should we open a store, right? So that's the first layer where we use. Even when it comes to consumer experience, so we have built our own POS, where what we try and do is we have a lot of data online. So we have more than 4 lakh people who come to our website app on a daily basis, and they browse, they give their phone numbers, they look at products. So what we have tried to do is when a customer enters a store, we try and take their phone number. And once they give their phone numbers, then we can actually, the store staff sees what all they have browsed online, right? Or what all products are they looking for right now, what all products have they purchased in the past, etc. Where the experience then is more personalized, right? And this is across, like if you go to a store A, then if you're going to a store B, the experience is not different. It is the same. So those are some of the power of technology that we are trying to build so that
Saying once I go to your store and I give my phone number, the sales team or the personnel in your store actually have a fair idea of what I have browsed online.
Yeah, because when you go to the app, they'll ask you to log in. So once you log in and you browse, all of that, essentially the sales staff will know these are the products that the customer has put on wish list, on trials, etc. And then when you give your phone number also, then the customer knows this is the product that you have bought in the other store, etc.
Interesting.
So all these things help in unifying the experience for the customer, rather than making it, that this is the only store where I will go, but then it makes it uniform for customer across all the stores. This is the other touch point. Along with this, there are multiple touch points where we try and leverage technology.
Yeah, so there's one very important thing which we don't talk upon. See, everyone is implementing AI and ML. So obviously, I'm 100% sure they are working on the biased algorithms and closely, monitoring that. So second is data privacy. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about taking customers' consent on various things, right? You mentioned video analytics, which is a very good tool too. Now the companies, we are working towards that, and many of the companies are doing that. They send the blurred face video feed to the bot. They don't send the face of the customer, and the bot analyzes almost 200 plus touch points of a body to give the analytics that it's a male, female, age group, and all that stuff, right? So these kind of things I think if we'll do, and respect the customer's data or privacy, that will help us in growing further, because India is little behind in terms of taking those steps. Although Europe, we have a lot of GDPR and a lot of other compliances. So I think brands there are a lot of brands, people sitting here, and we are also in the panel wherein we should respect the customer's data privacy and work on various technological advancement, keeping in mind that the data is very important.
Fair enough. I'm going to quickly touch upon two more opinions on customer experience and probably future stores. I'll come back to you, Sathish. Generative AI has become a new fad. How do you see utilizing this to like improve visuals or improve better reach to the customers, better branding and things like that? Because you are extensively into the online marketing space.
Right. I think none of us can escape the impact of AI and specifically Gen AI because it is going to allow us to create at scale more effectively and more efficiently. I think the biggest skill set that we are going to look for in people is their ability to prompt engineer over the next couple of years for more effective output, because Gen AI very, very clearly is about what you feed in terms of do you know what exactly you want and how you want to communicate it to that machine to give you the output that you need. It's definitely it's already saving a lot of time in creating static creatives, especially for ads, for social media. It's allowing you to experiment, different creative formats very quickly. Where your graphic designer would have to spend a couple of hours, coming up with one particular layout or one particular arrangement of product and image and background and all of that. Here you can do this multiple iterations very, very quickly, which means that you can try out a lot of A/B testing can be faster. First point. The second is you can also generate a lot of content, right? In both text and visual, you can. I'm looking at it from 2 points. One is the customer experience. I'll come to it. The first point is really your branding communications and communications of D2C to the consumer. What are your touch points? So you can really create a lot of text content which is rich, effective, SEO ready. Which again is used to be a lot of trial and error. Is this working? Does this make sense? Sometimes you have content writers just string together keywords to make content which doesn't really make for good reading. But here you can use human intelligence as well as AI and give better hybrid product in terms of text content on site, discoverability, metadata. And secondly, in terms of the customer experience, definitely, because I think AI will lead search, visual search, styling suggestions, putting the look together. Because today, customers do not come to you to be sold stuff, right? Fashion especially is a very discovery-led space. Customers like to discover, but then they also like to understand options, what options they are having. And for them to go through, your endless aisle of 25, 50,000 SKUs just to discover what they want is not really a very sensible or an effective way of purchase. So for them to be able to, like for example, in stores you have, your hotspots, your mannequin display, your suggested assembly of, multiple products into a look. And you can do that to an extent with, e-commerce images, but they are not always that effective. Customers would like to see variety, would like to say top A with skirt B or a jean C or something like that, multiple options which they can experiment with visual search. And what I believe that technologists should be working on is how can we unify output so that we have a campaign-led approach, which means what I'm saying through my text, what I'm saying through my visuals, what I'm saying on my social, all of this comes together in a more cohesive way so that every touch point that the customer is seeing or wherever you're reaching out to the customer, the messaging is the same. Then it hammers in the idea much more effectively. And also where we need to, I think the biggest thing will be catalog visual enrichment. Again, like I said, I want to go back to my pet topic is paid advertising because I think it's very effective, but it also has a lot of leakages. right? For example, improving on your clicks and so on. The more effective your catalog images are, the more effective your catalog run ads can be. And because most of these platforms like Facebook or Google are shifting towards AI-led ads with Performance Max or Advantage Plus campaigns, which rely heavily on your catalog images from the website. So enriched catalog will make that more effective and efficient.
Thanks for the insights on how this whole generative AI on the visual side also can add value to e-commerce in general. I think a lot of people are constantly brainstorming on how can we leverage this, right? It looks definitely something that I can actually take in and use it immediately, but articulating it into how that can actually integrate into your business was wonderfully put by you. Thank you for that. We have 5 minutes. I want to we'll just have a very candid discussion on how would stores look like in future. We are probably talking about 5 years down the lane. We'll talk about how traditional brands are looking at it. Like Saurabh, you can probably mention how you can pick one of your brands and talk about how the future is going to look like. Ishendra, you can probably talk about how a jewelry store can look like. An experience in a jewelry store can be different, right? So I would like to get both of your views on how future store can look like.
Sumanth, what we are trying to do, achieve here is, and not going off the grid, basically we will keep the technology relevant to our stores and all, and we will select, very precisely what is relevant for us. Again, I'll take it into two different parts. Our stores which are physically present will keep on working like it is, but it will also keep on enhancing the personal experience what the technology has started doing it. Like for example, if we take a couple of brands which are probably not here, like for example, a Lenskart is doing, they give you frames, and you can try it online on their site. Like a Nykaa or a Sugar Cosmetics are doing basically in terms of whether they can apply makeup on their this thing. That's basically giving a personal experience without visiting the store, right? That experience is gonna go up. I think in future it's gonna be more customized. It is getting trickier to enter into the store, considering we took 2 hours to reach here, right? So people don't want to step out, but they still want to experience the store, right? So that virtual representation will go up. I think VR will go up. I think the store representation, that's how we have started using and building the stores as well. Now the 3D models have come in picture. We see the store before it is even built, how it is gonna look like, where is gonna be your trial rooms, how the store is gonna enter, how all those things have already been already in the picture. So I think the future is bright. I don't know how exactly it is going to happen in a 1 year or a 2-year span or a 3-year span, but it is quickly adapting. Again, we don't have to be, in the crowd. Everyone doesn't have to run through it, because I'm sure there will be some orthodox when it comes to let's assume, I'm presuming, I might be wrong, that jewelry, someone want to still see it, right? Or hold it in their hand. So there will be certain businesses which might not need that, but there will be certain businesses which will, a part of our business, which is fashion, probably, if I know a footwear size, I don't have to go to the store to buy it, right? I can still buy it online, or I can virtually go to the store and buy it. Our Gen Z, what we are talking about, and a Gen Alpha, which is coming, over a period of time. I'm definitely sure if there are 3 people who picked up their hand today and for ChatGPT, there are gonna be 60 people next time. So that is increasing. So the future is bright. I think e-commerce again is growing at a much faster rate. In fact, exponentially than even retail. So that's something which is gonna be looked after. I think that technology.
We could probably imagine like a BHPC store and a Puma store in Apple Vision Pro, sitting at home, probably visualizing all the products, holding them in hand. Though I'm not holding anything actually.
We can, but I think that has to be a place like Cannot Place.
Again, yeah. So for Puma, what we're discussing was that again, because of all the shift of business that is happening and everything, yes, there might be lesser number of stores, but then the stores that come up would be much bigger, bolder in appearance, because shopping still remains a therapy for a lot of people, right? In the lifestyle that we have, the time that we need to spend with our family, especially in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, remains like a therapy experience, right? So when you're there in the store, you need to get that ambience, you need to get that feel that you're there spending some quality time, and personalization and everything still remains there. And the kind of stores that we want would ideally be the lighthouse stores that we talk about, which deliver probably double the revenue of the regular stores, while they are high on capex, but then the revenues that they drive, the experiences that they drive for the consumers are much better. And on the interiors of the store, I'd say that almost all the brands are at par currently in the bigger format stores. However, what I feel is the trial rooms are one of those areas where all your decisions majorly are made, right? So those are still very rudimentary for a lot of brands. And those are the locations where there can be a lot of digitization that can happen in future. I, as a consumer, when I go into a trial room with like loaded with 10 t-shirts and I have to try all of them every time with around 10 people waiting for me outside, those are the locations which would be probably pivotal in future, where tech might come in. If not now, probably 5 years from now. And I guess that will be the future for most of the stores.
So, so over the next 5 years, where I see retail, shaping up is towards a very good consumer experience. So for example, something that sometimes you experience in Western worlds, that consumer experience is more personalized, it is more, the store consultants are more trained. Those are some of the things that, you will start seeing in India a lot, where, brands are, so one thing which I strongly believe is there is an element of personalization, but then there is also an element of standardization. Like if you enter to a brand store A and brand store B, that has to be standardized. So with the help of technology, with the help of all the trends, all the support that is coming in, a lot of work would be done on consumer experience via technology, but via store consultants as well, and via backends of the companies. And that will elevate a lot, is something that I see over the next 4 or 5 years.
Thank you.
I think
Amit?
I would still focus on the personal touch and feel thing, right? Because definitely the in-store experience can be enhanced. So 2-3 things which I think we see very near. One is having an interactive shelves, wherein the information about the product needs to be displayed in a way that customer understand the story behind it, how the fabric is being curated and all that stuff. That is one. Second could be the bridging the gap between online and offline. As you said, the person who has talked to the virtual assistant or has followed any social media influencer, he can just come in and buy the product which is being created for him or her, or he has selected. That should be very quick. Third could be the traditional mannequins could be digitized in a way that it can be more interactive through the window. I mean,
Nice, different viewpoints actually. So one of them is about how we can tell better stories through the retail stores. One of them is about how can we create more digital experience, virtual experiences, bring store to the home and bring store to the devices, personal devices. And the other one is about how we can maintain consistent experiences across various stores. It doesn't matter whether you're in Bombay or Bangalore, you're going to a brand store, you're still experiencing consistent experience. That's a wonderful point. I think I'll open the session for questions from audience if you have any. Otherwise, I think we can have a quick round of rapid fire. Really? All right. So let's take 1 or 2 questions if there is any. Otherwise, I think we can conclude. Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank you all for making your time here and sharing wonderful insights. I think there have been multiple viewpoints from a traditional perspective, from a technology perspective, and from a brand perspective, growth perspective, digital perspective. It was very insightful. I hope all of you have enjoyed the session. And yeah, thanks to you all.